All right, everybody, we're doing our second live broadcast of the day. Joined with Marc Halpern. I appreciate you coming on tonight. Ph.D., my friend, correct? Marc, you there, my friend?
Yeah, it's a little bit choppy. We'll see. We'll give it a shot.
Okay, I hear you. So we should be good. It's so Marc, what do you where'd you get your doctorate in?
Well, I got my doctorate in a PhD in organic chemistry in 1983, which is quite a while ago, and that has absolutely nothing to do with real estate. And I actually started investing in real estate at age 50, and I was able to achieve it very, very slowly because I didn't want to work too hard. Achieve financial freedom by age 61. I went extremely slow.
Okay, so a chemist into a real estate investor. You might be one of a kind. Or what was biochemistry? Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, it's organic chemistry. Yeah, we don't talk too much with biochemists if we can avoid it.
That's more schooling than I've ever had in my entire life. But nonetheless, you're probably the smartest guy in this interview. So let me ask you some questions, man. You seem to have figured out some really good stuff in life. And today we're here to do this broadcast because you're presenting tonight. And you're presenting at GP RIA, Jim Zaspel's group. It's a really fantastic event that he puts on monthly, and he really takes the time to find the best speakers that he can in terms of adding value to his group. And my understanding is it's tonight at 6 o'clock at the Manny Young Brewing Company. I've been there. I love that venue. The venue's really nice. And I guess you guys came together, and ultimately tonight, Marc, you're going to be talking about being a part-time investor and getting rich, right? Like everybody thinks that's not possible. Clearly it is. You had a very candid conversation with me before we got on the phone. You go, "This is how much money I made doing 3 months worth of work. Why would you not do this?" So can you elaborate a little bit on what you'll be talking about tonight?
Yes. Thank you very much, Ian, for that. I might start with a small correction. I'm actually I'm not looking to get rich. I'm looking for financial freedom. Huge difference. And again, this is my never humble opinion. You have to understand, I was born in New York, so I don't have humble opinions, but I do have opinions. They're very strong. So, in my never humble opinion, financial freedom, the two major things that I've always been looking for, and I've achieved really since age 35, which is almost 30 years now, is happiness and financial freedom. Those are the two things in that order. So I'm looking for happiness first, and happiness is about what you do with your time. It's not. It has something to do with money. But what part-time investing enables me to do, and what I'm going to be talking about tonight, is that part-time investing uniquely gives the opportunity to get the money to have the money to fund your life while having the time to enjoy your life. So I actually have I have no desire to be rich. A net worth, an income with maybe I'll give you a little bit about the opening tonight. Although, so the people that might come tonight might be disappointed when they first hear it. But here's what happened. Last year, as a part-time investor, I made $140,000 on the side, in addition to my primary occupation as a chemist, with 3.5 months of work, where the work was done exclusively by other people. Plus, I also did 5 hours a week of administrative work to manage my small portfolio of rentals that I have. And then the question is, if somebody can make, let's say, $100,000 or more with only 4 to 5 months a year of work, would that change their lives? And that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about. And I'm going to be showing a number of scenarios. For example, the scenario how a household, middle income household with $6,000 a month of household income, how they can achieve true financial freedom. That has two metrics. One of the metrics is a passive income metric, to have over $10,000 a month in passive income, and the other is a net worth metric, to get a net worth of about $2 million, and that's while still holding down a job and not making that much of an effort, like doing one house every 2 years. It's the lowest effort possible. Now, I only do 1 or 2 houses a year. That's all new houses, and flips, rentals, lease options, things like that. But I don't want to work too hard. I have a lazy boy, which I could show you. It's in the other room. I'm still working at home, and until the presentation tonight. And I do most of my work out of my lazy boy. I create value in chemistry and real estate and marketing and a variety of other things. But I'll let you ask another question in a second. But to sort of summarize, where I'm coming from is part-time is to make full-time income from part-time work. That's really, without driving yourself crazy, but not to become rich. because $2 million of net worth is not rich, but there's financial freedom with, again, $100,000 a month, $100,000 a year, and 4 to 5 months of work. And I'm still a chemist. I do chemistry. I have patents. I'm doing all kinds of cool things. So I'll shut up and let you ask a question.
No problem. No, you're an interesting guy. I think what you're saying in short is, and I love it. The reason I smiled is the minimum effective dose to be happy is what you're looking at. Like, and I'm a huge proponent in my own right. I think people talk about grinding it out and so forth. There's no badge of honor for grinding it out. You have achieved what you set out to do, which was find happiness. You found happiness, and here was the financial means to do it. And I'm going to put the least amount of the minimum effective dose to make sure I'm effective at achieving that goal, which ultimately is what we're all doing, right? So exactly. I don't do this because I want to tell everybody I work. I'm not here to work 40 hours a day, right? I'm here to make as much money as possible because I want to achieve a certain state of mind, which is happiness. You became very resolved in that capacity at a young age. And why would you spend a single extra ounce of effort in trying to do something that's not going to make you happy? So you said, this is the most efficient way for me to be happy. And it just so happens that you've also made, it's quite a bit of money. That's quite a bit of money. And you retain, you obviously like being a chemist as well, right? I mean, you wouldn't, clearly with that mindset, you enjoy your line of work as well.
That's exactly right. I'm going to be showing statistics tonight where 51% of people, workers in the United States, hate their jobs, 35% tolerate their jobs, 14% love their jobs. I'm part of the 14%. And so I love what I do. I live my life by design. And by the way, because I'm a chemist and I'm very data retentive, like Sheldon Cooper on Big Bang Theory, just then I have to turn emotions. I always have to turn emotions into metrics. So I actually have a metric that I'll be mentioning tonight, but I'll be talking a bit more about it in the workshop on Saturday. I have a metric for happiness. I actually have a way of measuring happiness. It's very easy to measure, and then how you can set goals for happiness. And it has to do with time, investing time, wasting time, spending time. So really, I'm primarily about happiness. Now, in order to achieve financial freedom with less than 10 rentals or 10 or less rentals, and that's what I've got. I'm right now at 8 rentals, and I'm going to add one more of my self-directed Roth 401k next year. Then I have to find the absolute most efficient way of being able to make money with the least amount of time and effort. And that's why strategic planning is really important. So I'm going to be showing a graph tonight, a graphic that's going to show what happens when people don't do strategic planning. It takes them decades more than it should to achieve their financial goals and their goals for happiness. And I've achieved my goals for happiness Actually, this is going to sound a bit arrogant, but hey, again, I was born in New York. It's just genetic. So I've actually achieved all my major goals in life, all of them. And I have a few minor goals of enjoying myself, but all the major goals are for family and prosperity and for self-actualization and for world travel. I'm using OPM, by the way. I've given invited lectures in 263 cities and 37 countries, and I made about $4 million over the years just on those lectures. Plus, I've done 53 two-day boot camps, another $1 million in those in the United States, Europe, and Asia. And then wow. I still can do part-time real estate investing on the side. As a matter of fact, I did a project last year. I did a flip last year. In my self-directed Roth 401k that went right into I bought a rental, my self-directed Roth 401k that, by the way, is cash flowing more than $1,000 per month per door, and that's after vacancy repairs and administration. And in the middle of all that, I went to Israel and I gave a 2-day lecture on phase transcatalysis because that's what I enjoy, and I got paid $22,000 to talk for 2 days. But that was in the middle of the project because part of the thing of achieving financial freedom through successful part-time real estate investing is figuring out the most efficient ways of doing things from a time standpoint and also from a financial standpoint. Once I realized that taxes, for example, are a huge, that's one of the biggest costs. Sometimes taxes can be almost more than the repair budget than you have. So I just had to figure out a way of legally solving that problem. So I'm very, very strategic in what I do, and I have to be. If I achieve, which I did, financial freedom with 10 rentals or less, then I have to have really high cash flows, and that's why the name of the home study course we'll be talking about tonight is called the Smarter Investing Home Study Course, because I approach things not because I'm smarter than anybody. I'm not, but I do things strategically. I invest a few hours a month thinking strategically, as opposed to most people that put maybe a few minutes a year. Most people are just obsessed about the execution of the plan that they have. That's either a poor plan or a plan that doesn't even exist. and they're churning and churning and grinding and going. And I'm not saying I'm not working hard. I mean, I work, on average 5 hours a week in real estate when I don't have any new projects, and 10 hours a week in real estate when I do have new projects. And then I work about 10, maybe 15 hours a week in my primary occupation when I'm not traveling. So, I have multiple businesses and multiple small businesses, and I invest a lot of time with my grandchildren. So it's very, very strategic. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is it's almost a holistic philosophy that it's overarching over all the decisions that I make, and then you have to execute. Then you have to know about how to, what's the best way of flipping, what's the best way of wholesaling, what's the best way of landlording, how do you establish acceptable standards of behavior with tenants, how do you, where do you put money in a rehab? I'm going to show, I'll show it on the Saturday workshop, not tonight because I won't have enough time. I'm going to show that in the houses that are under $200,000 in our area, which is I live in South Jersey, which is the greater Philadelphia area. Everybody says kitchens and bathrooms are important. Well, kitchens are important, but I've actually done experiments. I've done control experiments with houses that I've rehabbed and sold, where I showed that under $200,000, bathrooms hardly make a difference. And I did this by analyzing what it is. So I'm very efficient with my time. I'm very efficient with my money. And what I'm going to be teaching tonight and on Saturday is how to strategically design your life and your work in such a way that you can have more bang for your time and more bang for your buck with less effort. I know it sounds crazy, but it's the reality that I live in, and I'm really happy.
I love it, Mark. I think we're going to hold you for another 5 minutes, and then we'll call it a. And the reason being, so guys, what's going on tonight with Mark? I mean, first of all, I've never heard you speak, Mark. I've heard about you, but never heard you speak. And I can see you put a lot of time and effort, and literally the reason we're only going to do another 5 minutes is because you're going right back to making sure everybody gets a lot of value tonight and a lot of value on Saturday. But your fundamental beliefs and what you're telling me right now, and I'm around a lot of investors, in different capacities, managed, partners in a management company, 2,000 units, and do a lot of lending and so forth. So I see a lot of different people. I have never met one investor that has had this approach. I've heard people talk about it. There's a couple of guys out there that I respect that they're heading down this road. But you literally have broken down your life into a science, and you said, and it's the best because technically speaking, happiness is a chemical reaction that you could measure. And you've almost done maybe you have fully measured it, right? So you've actually measured the chemical reaction to create happiness, which none of this matters. You can have $5, you can have no money and be happy. So you've basically broken down exactly what it takes to make the minimum effective dose to make you happy. And it just so happens to be a good chunk of change. And you're going to be going over that in a boot camp on Saturday tonight at the presentation. That's amazing. I'm significantly, I'm very interested to hear this. I'm telling you, Mark, thousands of investors. I had to have met thousands of investors over the years of the transactions I've done. Never has somebody come in this true capacity, which is what we all want. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier than people think, but you have to think strategically. And it sounds ridiculous, but it is. It's the way it is. So either I'm lying or I'm for real, but I have all the data. I've got, you can look up in tax records, and a lot of people here in the Delaware Valley that know me, Dave Van Horn, and just a lot of people that are in our sphere of influence. Actually, Dan Zatowski was at my presentation the other night, South Jersey REIT. Yeah, and it's a very, very simple. Now, he makes a lot more money than I do, which is great. I'm happy for him. But that's what makes him happy. What makes me happy? Would you be totally just intellectually stimulated by organic chemistry? Probably not. Most people aren't. So the things that I love are not necessarily the things that you love. So everybody's got to define for themselves what they love and then pursue that, but strategically. And once you figure out what your path is, then the execution takes a decade or 2 decades less. And I started. I was a passive real estate investor part-time since 1987, so that's 30 years. But I got seriously into becoming a part-time investor in 2004. I was 50 years old, and I didn't drive myself crazy. You'll see it tonight. I hope a lot of the people that are on here tonight will be able to see. Will be able to come and see this stuff. It's unbelievably simple. You don't need a PhD in organic chemistry to understand it. What you need is an open mind, and you need to think strategically.
You need to think differently than most people think, because otherwise you end up in the churn and burn for 20 extra years. And I don't know about you, but I'd love to go to an event and shave 20 years off my my learning curve. That sounds good. That sounds really good. So, what do you want to leave everybody with? Anything you want to say to everybody, Mark, before we wrap this up and you get back to your work?
Yeah, and the work is pretty much. I haven't finished putting the slides together yet, believe it or not. So I have a bunch of. You can see the part-time investors logo that I've got here, and maybe there's one other thing that I'm not sure exactly who's online here, but I'm going to show also some data that part-time investing is a lot more common than people think. 69% of the flips that were done in the first quarter of 2017, there were 44,000 flips done in the United States in the first quarter. 69% of those were done by people who did only one flip in that quarter. And there's 17 million single family home rentals in the United States. 89% of those are owned by landlords who have 10 or less properties. So, this great thing, you have to be, and all the gurus, you got to be a full-time investor. Go ahead. You want to live that life? That's fine. But typically, because I've given lectures at a number of RIAs, I wrote a book on real estate. I've written 5 books, 4 on chemical technology, 1 on real estate investing. And as I go around the country and I see these different places, 5 to 10% of RIA membership are full-time investors. Most RIA members are either part-time investors or want to be part-time investors. And half the full-time investors I know have such a harried life that they're looking forward to going back into part-time investing so they can just take some time off and breathe. So the message I want to leave people with: seriously consider part-time investing, not as a compromise, but actually as a strategic decision to achieve happiness and financial freedom simultaneously. That's my message, I think.
I love it, Mark. Thank you so much for coming down this short notice, and we look forward to seeing you tonight. And everybody that's watching this, show up. It's a good spot. It's a good venue, and Mark is extremely intriguing. So you're gonna learn something tonight.
Ian, thank you very much for inviting me.
You got it, man.